Hey everybody, Garcia here, and today I'm going to be comparing the previous printing of Biblios with its brand new printing and theme for The King and Me. These are both, as you can see, from the same company. They're both from IELLO, and some of the information over here has changed. So same game length, same age suggestion, but then you'll see that the new printing over here in the slightly larger box is for 2 to 5 players, and the previous one is for 2 to 4 players. So the boxes are fairly similar. This is one of these metallic or magnetic rather clasps over here. This one's just a regular box. And we have on the backs of the boxes here very little information of this one because it came with a leaflet on the back, I believe, originally. And this one actually has information on the back showing you some of the new artwork and some of the showing you the look of what the board will be. So we're going to take a look at that as well. So I'm going to be comparing these side by side, telling you about the quality of the components, what they did to make this come up to 5 players, and just some general suggestions as to, what I think about them, basically, and again, briefly comparing them, letting you decide if this new one is maybe something you want to pick up, whether you own Biblios or not, okay? So there you go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the boards side by side so you can see the main component that's going to be on the table between the players. Here we've got the board for Biblios, and as you can see, it has the 5 suits that you're going to be collecting in the game, and a die that represents the worth of that thing. As you manipulate those, the players are going to go up or down, and you're going to simply change the die. So if I'm moving this one here up, then I'll just flip over the die to a 4. If it goes up again later on in the game, I'll take that to a 5, this down to a 2, and so on. Whoever wins the majority of each of these is going to take the die, and at the end of the game, you sum up your dice and figure out who the winner in the game is, okay? Over here, we've got, again, 5 suits, and the values are represented by these banners below it. And you'll see each one has 2 banners, and that's because of a rule change in the game. There is now an award for being second place, for having the second most of something in the game. As you manipulate something, such as this one right here in purple has been moved up to a 4, then you are going to adjust the one below it automatically to be half of the top one rounded down. And so if you move this up to a 4, the bottom one becomes a 2. If you then change it again to become a 5, you are going to remove the banner, you'll change the banner here, and this remains a 2 because half of 5 rounded down would still be 2. And you just set the banner here aside. And again, all of these have the whole collection of banners for each of the colors, 1 through 6. All right, so that's a main difference in the game, the fact that now you'll be scoring for a second place. There's also then, as I'll go ahead and remove those, if you flip this board over, you'll see there's one more character with their own banners here, and this is what you'll be doing for 5 players. You're going to be playing with more colors to collect, and therefore there will be more things to score in the game. So that's mechanically what they've done to bring the game up to 5 players, and that works just fine. Bigger deck, more things to collect. It scales up as you would expect, basically. No real big change, except now there's more to do. So that's the main difference there and the main scoring modification that they've done. I will say I like the dice over here. I think it's very easy to manipulate these. And then once you score, very easy to grab them. I think the banners are a little bit more fiddly. It's not a deal breaker for me, but I do find them a little bit more annoying to just have to grab it and find the other one. There's also all these things over here that you're going to have to, make a pile for. Organize all this and make a pile for that. Whereas over here, no equivalent exists for all of this mess, right? But again, it's not really a problem, and I do like the rules change, that there is something for being very close to the winner, and normally you would get absolutely nothing in the original Biblios printing here, whereas now, well, you get something for being second place. All right, so there you go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the cards side by side that you're going to be playing with. So here we've got the cards for Biblios, we've got the cards for the King and Me, And right away, you'll be able to tell that the cards in the new printing are much better quality. These aren't bad. They're just sort of slabs of cardboard a little bit. They don't shuffle particularly well. They are very thick cards. They'll hold up to some punishment, but they are quite thick. The artwork has also been refreshed. I think both are okay. I do like the new look better. It looks a little more modern, a little more crisp. Also, these are white bordered cards on the front and the back. The previous ones have a black border on the back, which will certainly show little cracks and nicks and what have you, okay? As far as the kinds of cards that you're going to find in here, you've got your gold and you've got your different suits that you will be dealing with, as well as these, which are the manipulation cards, the ones that will change the dice values in the game. And then the equivalent of that, we've got our gold. We've got our cards with a little bit of a much sillier cartoony look to it. The theme here is going to be a lot more lighthearted. And then the ones that manipulate, in this case, the banners, would look like this. And they will tell you how many banners you are modifying up or down one. This one over here has the die in the corner, up, down, one. Okay? So those are the equivalents between them as far as the cards go. I think the theme in Biblios can be very dry, maybe even a little bit daunting for some people, whereas the new one is silly, and while certainly not certainly a period theme and perhaps not particularly exciting, I think the way in which it's handled is very lighthearted, and I think that makes the game more approachable now. Okay. Now, one thing I want to point out here, in the original one, if you intend to play with fewer than 4 people, with 3 or with 2, then you have to remove some cards. Which cards is listed in the rulebook. One thing they did in the new one, which I appreciate, is the cards you remove in order to play with 4 and 3. You can now play 5. That's everything. But if you want to remove some cards for 2, for 3, for 2 players, then the cards themselves will tell you which ones you are supposed to remove. And I like that a little bit better. The cards will have a little indicator at the bottom. Let me see if I can find one here. Anyway, these are the ones removed for 5 players. They're not in there right now. So they'll tell you right at the bottom which ones you are meant to remove by listing a player count. And these are all the pink ones here, the ones that in the suit that we wouldn't be using, as well as some money has gone and some of the manipulation cards are gone. So you can just go through the deck, find the ones listed at the player count you're not intending to play with, and pull them from the deck, as opposed to finding it in the rule book and then going through the deck and removing whatever's needed. You'll find them more quickly, because it can be any of that kind. But I like that the cards themselves over here will tell you what to get rid of. And of course, you can just remove all these to play with 4, which is this game's max. Okay? So there you go. Another thing that this one includes here is these tokens, which are meant to go to the players. They don't really have a player color. It's just sort of a cute illustration of a character you are meant to represent in this game's theme. And then at the end of the game, as you win these banners, and this is a stretch, to be fair, it's quite useless, in fact. At the end of the game, you're going to take the banners you won, and you will stick them underneath here. You will score 5 points there, and then you can just throw this back in the box because, well, the game is now done. So while I appreciate that they try to add a little more theme here to the entire package, these are really superfluous. There's no good reason for these to be in there. I appreciate that they took the trouble to make these double-sided, and so there is a male and a female side for each of these, the same illustration, in fact, or very similar character traits on both sides, and there's a nice amount of humor there. But this piece really is, something that they chose to throw in it, and it does not serve a purpose. Maybe it might help you role play a little bit if you're interested in doing that as you are playing the game, but they really don't need to be in there. So there you go. Overall, I think the new printing is very nice. I think it's a slightly more fiddly game than the original, mainly because of those banners. I think the new scoring rules are better. I think the cards are better. There's a wider player count, and that's good. It isn't a ridiculous addition. Some games that list sometimes a higher or a lower player count than you are used to, it really feels like a stretch. and I think it does not feel like a stretch in this printing of the game. So generally speaking, unless you are a particularly big fan of the Biblios theme, the monks transcribing books, right, then I think the new one is a better printing of the game. I think it'll have wider appeal. It plays more, folks. Better cards that will hold up a little bit more, and just generally a more pleasant, easier experience to enjoy. So there you go. That is my comparison between Biblios here and For the King and Me. Not a great title, I have to say. I don't love it. Biblios is a much cooler title. But that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you are a fan of Biblios, is this something you might consider picking up? Because, well, you can play an extra character now, or maybe you like the theme a little more. It might help your game hit the table a little bit more. Or if you've never played either one, which one seems more interesting? Obviously, in this video, I did not go into the explanation of the rules, but we've got videos for that. Make sure you check out the review of For the King and Me. If you are interested in how the game plays, you can even go back and watch our review of Biblios as well. So that's going to do it for this one, everybody. Thanks for checking out this side-by-side comparison here. My name is Garcia, and I'm going to see you on the next one.